episode 5 of Trev's Hockey Show here on Trev TV. I'm the Trev, and if you're joining me, if you're watching this, that is too sweet. Now, I've seen a lot of hockey YouTube channels doing this one, and I'm not really trying to imitate or copy or steal off anybody's idea, but I figure I'd do one of my own. Favorite teams, 31-1. I hope this won't be a long video, but the way I'm thinking of it up here, it might be. I can't guarantee it is, I can't guarantee it's not. But we'll make a good run out of it. So before I start, instead of just going 31 these guys, 30 these guys, 29 these guys, I'll try and give you a reason why I dislike said team. And I'll at least give them the benefit of the doubt and try and name at least one player that I might have liked from said team. Having said all that, let's get started. Flyers are my least favorite team. I've never liked the Flyers. And I don't know if they just irk me, or if I just don't like the style they play, or if I just don't like their audience. Because I mean, let's not call it kettle black here. Flyers fans, especially in Philly, they're kind of rowdy. Not that that's a bad thing, but they take it to a new extreme. When you're throwing shit on the ice that can actually legitimately hurt a player, it's kind of classless. Having said that, Ron Hextall. I got a soft spot for guys with the number 27, because 27 is my number. So Ron Hextall would be at least one guy I liked from the Flyers. Don't get me started. Just don't. Russ Courtnall. Team that can't celebrate anything else, so let's celebrate the fact that they haven't won a cup in 50 years. And they did actually have a ceremony for that. If you don't believe me, search it. That's what YouTube is for. Doug Gilmour. As an Edmontonian, as a guy who's born and raised in Edmonton, I should be over this. August 9th, 1988 was the last time I ended up saying I liked anything to do with the Oilers. Having said that, Craig Simpson. I haven't been a fan of the Penguins since they were the Penguins. And I'm talking guys like Lemieux, Jagger, Stevens, Tocchet, Reggett, Murphy, both Samuelsons, Barrasso, Trottier to a lesser extent. I've just given you 10. And that was when I was a Penguins fan. That was back in the 90s. Again, another team that's just relying on past glories to stay relevant. Pat LaFontaine. It's not that I don't like the Sabres, because I don't not like them. I just don't consider them to be in my top 10. But they have had some good players through the years. Don't get me wrong on that. Hasek, Housley, Hawerchuk. I just gave you 3. I think of the Panthers. I think of what the soon-to-be wife says. They remind her of a college team. I kind of have to agree. They haven't been a good team since they lost the Cup in '96. I think of guys like Pavel Bure. And that's probably the only guy I can think of that I would give legitimate props to for the Panthers. For the Senators, see the reasoning for the Canadians. Ron Tugnutt, Daniel Alfredsson, Alexei Yashin. Arizona is a team I would like to like if they would just stop being such a bad team. Players I could like from Phoenix, Arizona: Jeremy Roenick, Keith Tkachuk, you know, the sandpaper of the team, if you will. If they were still the Whalers, I'd probably have them put up a little higher. But being they're not the Whalers, they're the Hurricanes. They're my 21st in a countdown from 31. Good players from Carolina: Francis, maybe Eric Stahl. When I think Vancouver, all I can think of is a team that riots when they lose the big one. That kind of leaves you some ideas to what my thoughts of Vancouver are. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a good riot, but for a good reason, not because we just lost the cup. But Canucks I did enjoy watching. Kirk McLean, Bure when he was there, Bertuzzi. I know I've just opened a worm there. And to a lesser extent, Marcus Naslund. The Devils must have been happy when the Mighty Ducks came in the league, because they were no longer the Mickey Mouse team. There actually was a team owned by Mickey Mouse, but they had really good teams. You know, I mean, you had guys like Correa, Solani, even Hebert, Tverdovsky. Some of my favorites, to name a few. There's a couple more that I really did enjoy watching when they were in Anaheim. If they were a better team, I might have them a little higher. I actually have the Rangers ranked a lot higher than I've actually given them credit for. It used to be back in the day, they were one of the teams I despised. And for the reason that they had Sean Avery. I can't stand any team that ever had Sean Avery. I know what that says for the Red Wings, but Avery wasn't Avery then. But the Rangers have actually made a believer out of me. Not that I'd hold them as a favorite, but maybe it's just me not giving them enough credit when it was due. As for Rangers I enjoyed watching, Brian Leetch, Mike Richter. Never was a fan of Messier, so we'll exclude him from that. Jagger, when he had a career renaissance going to New York, you know, I enjoyed watching him as a Ranger. Oh, the Winnipeg Thrashers. I'm sorry, Jets fans. I can't think of Winnipeg without thinking of the Thrashers. But as for Jets players I've enjoyed watching, I'm not going to lie, this year I enjoyed watching Paul Stastny as a Jet. Whether or not he stays as a Jet remains to be seen, but Nick Antropov, I liked him as a Jet. For as much as the Flames have won and lost me money, they're probably, now that I'm looking at this list here, the highest ranked Canadian team that I actually like. Back in the 80s, I can remember watching them in the 80s, they were the grit. They were the bruiser team, and they were fun to watch. Especially when you guys had guys like Poplinski and Joel Otto and Hoken Lube and Joe Mullen. You had Mike Vernon in the net. You had Dana Merzen, Jim Kite on the blue line. Oh, it was fun to watch back then. For a relatively new team, being they are only a year old, Vegas has made a believer out of me. I mean, yeah, I've got them ranked 15th, 31, which is not a bad positioning for a new team. As for Knights that I enjoy watching, William Karlsson comes to mind. Flower, it's good to see him in a jersey that is not a Penguins jersey. To a lesser extent, Thomas Tatar, when he is playing. Now we're talking teams that have won me and lost me a lot of money. I made the mistake in the 88 and 90 series when they were playing Edmonton to bet against them. Of course, in 90, I thought I had a legitimate shot. No regrets. No way. I was wrong. Bruins I enjoyed watching, though. Andy Moog, Cam Neely, Ray Bourque, early Joe Thornton, before he got traded to San Jose. I thought he was really coming into his own the more he played in Boston. But, apparently O'Donnell thought the other way. Oh well. The wife can't stand Minnesota, and that's just because they're in the same division as Colorado. But Minnesota's a good team. I mean, they don't play bad. They don't play to have 50 goal scorers, 100 point scorers. They play to win, and that is a good philosophy to go by in any book. I really enjoyed watching Gaborik in the beginning. Rolison was a good goalie when he was playing for them. Mikko Koivu, I enjoy watching him now. Jason Pominville, just to name a few. Back to the original Mickey Mouse team. Poor New Jersey. They'll never live that rep down. Ever. For as long as they're a team, they'll never live down the rep of being a Mickey Mouse team, as per Wayne Gretzky. But, I mean, thanks to guys like Brodeur, they turned their fortunes around big time. 3 cups out of it. Not a bad deal. But I enjoyed watching John McClain, Kirk Muller, Brendan Shanahan in his earlier years. Scott Stevens, who didn't like Scott Stevens, especially when he laid out Lindros. Oh, beauty. Beauty hit. Columbus is a team I want to cheer for. If they can get over the hump of losing in the first round in the playoffs every time they go, they might actually make something good out of it. Might. But until then, they'll always be Columbus. But guys like Bobrovsky, I really enjoy watching Bobrovsky, especially when he's on his game. Oh my God. I enjoyed Nash when he was there. David Viborny, Jeff Sanderson from the beginning. They've had some good guys roll through. They've also had not some good guys roll through, but different video for a different day. Moving into my top 10. I couldn't think of a better team to be number 10 than Dallas. They were, back when they were in their heydays of good runs, they were a really good team playing in a conference of really good teams and actually made 2 cup runs out of it. It's pretty sweet. Not counting their Minnesota years. I'm only counting their Dallas years. But I enjoyed watching Darian Hatcher. Oh, every time I watched a Dallas game, I always focused on Darian Hatcher. Ed Belfour was fun to watch. Brett Hull, obviously, won them the cup with his foot in the crease. Fun team to watch. Now granted, St. Louis isn't the St. Louis of old, and that's okay. Some teams evolve, some teams devolve. But I don't have a problem with St. Louis. I mean, sure, they're not winners. They haven't won a lot by any means or stretch of the imagination. But they've always been a consistent playoff team. I can remember watching guys like Pavel Demitra, Brett Hull, Adam Oates, Craig Janney. How many guys actually enjoyed watching Craig Janney? Again with Brendan Shanahan, even though he wasn't there long. He's fun to watch there. Smashville. I have Smashville ranked as number 8. They're a fun team worth watching now. I enjoy watching them play. The way they play, it's not all dump and chase. It's actually play the grit, play the man, cover the D, score when you can. Fun guys to watch there, I thought, were Paul Kariya. I mean, he didn't make the most out of his run there. But when he was there, oh man, he was actually playing like he wanted to play. To PK Subban, I enjoy watching Subban now a lot more than I enjoyed watching him in Montreal. Tampa's on the verge of something good. I mean, they were in 03 and they were in 04. They won it all in 04. They lost it all in 15, but they're on the verge of something good. And that's good building on the part of Stevie Yzerman. But I enjoyed watching Le Cavalier. I enjoyed watching Brad Richards, Habby Boulin, or Kahabi Boulin, if you decide not to silence the K. I enjoy watching Stamkos now, Victor Hedman, even Kucherov. You know, he kind of came out of nowhere, but glad he did. Vasilevsky, I enjoy watching Vasilevsky. Tampa's going to be something good. Chicago, when you got something good, you got something good. You know, the whole ain't broke, don't fix unless you're under salary cap issues. But when you got guys like Kane, Taves, Keith, Crawford, you know, you're solid 4 guys. And they're healthy, and they're playing on point. Oh, they're a threat. I didn't think I'd have LA ranked as high as I do, but they're 5th. They're my 5th favorite team. And it's more so just because, you know, they've been the prototypical underdog. Even in 2012 and 2014, they were the underdog, and they won it both years. I mean, yeah, they lost in 9-3 to the Canadians, but you can thank Marty McSorley for that. But as for Kings, I enjoyed watching Gretzky, Curry, Huddy, Coffey, Rudy. 4 of those 5 were old Oilers. So they knew what they were doing when they were building the pieces. I've always liked San Jose. You know, they were really... When I came to know hockey, as I come to know hockey, they were the first expansion team that I saw. I was barely alive when the WHA merger became their newest expansion. But they were the first expansion team I saw. And from the colors that they had initially, even the colors they still have, to the team they've turned themselves into, oh, they're fun to watch. I mean, you wouldn't expect that out of a California team. You know, you think of Sunbelt teams, you think of Florida, and it's like, no. But San Jose is fun to watch, especially when you got guys like Burns, Thornton, Couture, Vlasic. I enjoyed Nabokov. I enjoyed Nolan when he was there. San Jose is a fun team to watch. Colorado's number 3. And I would love to say it's just because they have Varley on the team. But growing up watching the rivalries they had with Detroit, the fierce competition in the West, and Colorado being a huge part of it. I mean, if they would have stayed in Quebec, do you think they'd been this competitive? I don't think so. They needed the move. And it did wonders for them. I mean, on top of Varley, Sakic, Forsberg, Foote, Bourque, Waugh, Odeline. You could even count Nolan the brief time he was there. They were fun to watch then, they're fun to watch now. And I mean, you got guys like McKinnon, Landeskog. If they can buy into the win now model, they'll be fun. Washington's number 2. And as a guy who was a former die-hard Caps fan, I still have a soft spot in my heart for them. I was a Caps fan when I decided I wanted to stop being a Penguins fan, and I stopped being a Caps fan when I was under the impression they weren't ever going to win. Boy, was that wrong. Favorite Caps, though, and I'm going all the way back to the 90s here on this one. Bondra, Pavanka, Johansson, Ole the goalie, Bill Ranford. I think I said Johansson. Adam Oates when he was there briefly. I'm not going to say Jagger because he was more damaged than he was worth. Gonchar. To new guys like Ovechkin, Kuznetsov, Backstrom, Holtby, Varley when he was there. I was really hoping they would have stuck with him. In retrospect, it's probably the better idea they didn't. But, you know, that's what it is. So if you've been following, Detroit's number 1. For now. And I'll explain that at the end of this. For me, growing up, the original 6 was the hot topic button. So naturally, I was going to cheer for an original 6 team. Detroit had to be it. I mean, out of the original 6 teams not named Montreal, Toronto, they've had more success. And I mean, I started watching hockey in an era when they were the dead things. They grew up to be the Cup champs. I've seen them win 4 Cups in my time. And again, with the fierce competition in the West, what it was between Detroit, Colorado, Dallas, they always managed to come out on top most of the time. So, based on how they were as opposed to how they are, I mean, the worst thing Ken Holland ever came out of his mouth: "We're rebuilding on the fly." That's just dumb. I mean, points knocked against them for having Mike Green. I can't stand Mike Green. I never could stand Mike Green. But pluses for them: Fedorov, Fetisov, Konstantinov, Larionov, Yzerman, Maltby, Draper, Osgood, McCarty, Vernon. I could keep going. There's so many names I could name that made Detroit fun to watch. That make Detroit fun to watch now. You got Larkin, Applicator, as I was calling him in the beginning. I really wish they hadn't traded Jurko. I really wish they hadn't traded Tatar. But business is business, right? As I said, Detroit's number 1 temporarily. Once the Board of Governors meets and decides Seattle is going to get a team, I'm jumping the wagon right off the hop. I don't care what they have for a team name. I'm jumping on the Seattle wagon. I've been lobbying for Seattle to have a hockey team since 1998. That was when I went to Seattle. They're ready. They've been ready for a long time. I mean, Memorandum of Understanding obviously stood in the way. Key Arena needs to be done. Okay, it's getting done. It's just a matter of when. So once that happens, Trev's out to the stores. As soon as they announce jerseys, Trev's buying 1 of each, home road. That way I have some Seattle jerseys in there to start rooting to. And that does it for this episode of My 31. If you watched the whole way through, thank you very much. I'm glad you did. I really wasn't trying to make it long. But, the video is what the video is, and I'm okay with it. But thank you again for tuning in. Your viewership means a lot to me. For the new subscribers I've had in the last little while, thank you very much. Still hoping to reach that goal of 50. If we do, we do. That's awesome. Like I said, I have no time limit on that. But again, thank you for tuning in. If you like this video, hit like. If you want to subscribe on your way out, that'd be awesome. In the meantime and in between time, keep on the lookout for some videos from Trev. Later.